responding to the challenges of, but they are also future ready. They're looking ahead, anticipating what are the risks and opportunities, and planning with a long-term vision. They are people-centered. They are focusing not only on the bureaucracy or personal interests, but they are putting people at the center of urban development. They are nature conscious. They are not only looking for economic growth opportunities, but they are also thinking about protecting the planning. And they are outcome driven. They are beyond sectoral and service delivery. They are delivering public value for citizens. This requires new forms of leadership that is able to embrace complexity and collaboration, that lead coordination across institutions and sectors, that support data-driven decision-making, and that build partnerships that place people at the center. And this is exactly the focus of our recent regional report, Rethinking Urban Governance for Tomorrow's Cities in Asia Pacific. You have it here. You can scan there to download it, please. It was co-developed with Arup. The publication offers fresh insights from Bangkok, Beijing, Ahmedabad, and Iloilo in the Philippines, and builds on UNDP's vision for anticipatory, adaptive, and agile governance. It illustrates how cities across the region are pioneering new models of collaborative governance, experimenting with innovative tools, and mobilizing diverse actors to bridge implementation gaps and accelerate progress towards the SDG. The findings of the report underscore a core message. When governance is future-ready, cities become more resilient, more equitable, and more capable of unlocking long-term prosperity. And with this framing, let me turn briefly to some of the examples that are illustrated in the report. First, from Bangkok, we documented the good experience about Traffic Fondue. It's a tool that is an initiative that aims to strengthen digital governance through platforms like Traffic Fondue, enabling real-time citizen engagement and dramatically improving responsiveness to municipal concerns. Traffic Fondue has become the tool for the municipal authorities, for the city authorities to communicate directly with citizens. And it's turning the administration towards citizens, putting people at the center instead of them trying to navigate the bureaucracy. The other example is from Ahmedabad in India. We documented how through leadership, institutional design, institutional coordination, and using digitalization, they are leveraging smart technologies and integrated command systems to manage services, infrastructure, and resilience with predictive insight and inclusive planning. The other one that is very well known for many already is Beijing from China, who was dealing with one of the worst air pollution over the world, and they turned it around. Again, it was through leadership, interinstitutional coordination, institutional design, and accountability that they were able to implement the Clean Air Action Plan, showing that accountability, multi-level governance, can deliver major environmental gains within a decade. This is a great example for many cities in Asia as well that are dealing with the issues of air pollution. The last one is Iloilo in the Philippines. The River Esplanade projects demonstrate the power of nature-based solutions and collaborative leadership to turn what was a very vulnerable waterway into an iconic public space that embraces resilience and community well-being. But beyond these examples, today's session will also draw on the VLR and the governance experiences from Yokohama, Bangkok, Baguio, and Dhaka, alongside perspectives from city networks, development partners, and practitioners. Together, the key highlight today is how future-ready governance and VLRs are advancing sustainable urbanization through initiatives such as circular economy transitions, climate resilience planning, and people-centered urban development. Within the less than 4 years remaining before the deadline to the SDGs, cities across the region, and indeed around the world, stand at a crossroads. The choices we are making today on planning, investments, participation, and partnerships will determine how our cities in the future will stand. Are they going to flourish or they're going to vanish? This is not just about systems, it is about political will. It is about leadership. It is about having a collective vision for urban development. It is about courage to break from outdated governance models. If we want resilient, inclusive, and sustainable cities, we need to work together and start today. At UNDP, we're working in over 30 countries in Asia Pacific to support city leadership, foster local governance reform, de-risk investment, and align city budgets with the SDGs. Our urban governance approach is centered around the 3 A's, being anticipatory, adaptive, and agile. Specifically, this means leveraging foresight and system thinking to help cities prepare for emerging risk and cope with complexity, deploying digital and data tools to enhance decision-making and public accountability, driving institutional innovation to test, adapt, and course correct based on feedback loops, especially putting people at the center, data, and collaboration with citizens, private sector, academia, and national governments. So with this, I'm coming to, I hope we have a great discussion, learning from the cities specifically, and from different partners that are working together to support urban development and helping to change the course of urban governance to support cities become more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Diana. We have another opening remarks, so I welcome Yatsuka Kataoka, Program Director, City Task Force for Institute for Global Environmental Strategies, IGES.
Okay, thank you very much. Good morning, distinct guests, dear colleagues and friends. First of all, please allow me apologize for joining you online today. I had very much looked forward to being with you in person. However, due to an unexpected situation, I am unfortunately unable to travel to Bangkok and must participate virtually. I truly appreciate your kind understanding. At that outset, I would like to express my sincere appreciation to our co-organizer, UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub, and our partners, CityNet and City of Yokohama, for making today's event possible. My warm thanks also go to all speakers for sharing their valuable insights and all participants, both on-site and online, for your commitment to advancing SDG localization. Today, I would like to briefly highlight the strategic value of voluntary local reviews, or VLRs. Next, please. Since adoption of S2030 agenda, VLRs have become an important tool for translating the SDG into local actions. Next, please. Please, implementation ultimately happens at local level. VLRs provide cities and local governments with an opportunity to assess progress, identify gaps, and better align their policies with global goals. The number of VLRs has been increasing rapidly since 2018, when the VLRs were first presented at the high-level political forum. Importantly, VLRs are more than reporting exercise. They can serve as practical tools for improving policy coherence and strengthening institutional coordination. In particular, the VLR process offers a valuable opportunity to review and optimize budgeting and financing. By examining how financial resources are allocated in relation to SDG priorities, local governments can make more strategic investment decisions and enhance accountability. VLR also contribute to improving local governance. The process often encourages collaboration across departments, strengthen data management, and increase transparency. In this sense, a well-designed VLR can function as a platform institutional learning and continuous improvement. Next, please. IGES has been promoting VLR as knowledge catalyst through VLR development support in and outside of Japan and knowledge sharing. Next, please. VLRs is a useful tool to promote SDG localization, but to fully realize the potential of VLRs, further efforts are needed. First, VLRs should be better integrated into a broader policy and strategy cycle of local governments. If they remain standalone reports, their impact may be limited. embedding VLR findings into offshore planning and budget process is essential to ensure real policy influence. Second, stakeholder participation remains an area that must be further strengthened. Meaningful engagement of civil society, academia, the private sector, and especially youth can significantly enhance both the legitimacy and quality of the review process. In this regard, the IGES is currently exploring a new initiative in collaboration with 8 local governments in Japan, in which young people will work together with the municipality to co-create a VLR. By directly involving youth in the process, we aim to promote intergenerational dialogue and foster greater ownership of local sustainability strategies. Furthermore, IGES will further promote SDG localization and share lessons learned as we look ahead to the 9th Asian Pacific Urban Forum, APUF-9, in partnership with the host city of Yokohama, and you all. Through the continued collaboration and knowledge sharing, we hope further strengthen regional momentum towards more effective and inclusive local implementation of SDGs. I hope today's discussion will help us reflect on how VLRs can become more integrated, participatory, and action-oriented instruments, supporting better budgeting, stronger governance, and more effective implementation of the SDG at the local level. Thank you very much, and I look forward to our discussion. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Kataoka-san. We have one more opening remarks, and I welcome Jae-Bok Chung, Undersecretary General and Chief Executive Officer of CityNet.
Excellencies, distinguished guests, colleagues, and friends, good morning. While I wish I could be with you in Bangkok today, I'm pleased to join you virtually and to share a few words to open this timely session. I'd like to congratulate our co-organizers, UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub, IGES, and City of Yokohama, for convening this important side event at the 13th APUF-9. The moment is here for local governments to leverage voluntary local reviews as part of a broader strategy for developing future-ready urban governance and to accelerate the localization of the SDGs. For the past few years, we have been fortunate to work together to encourage more cities in our network to compile VLRs. Through this experience, we see that VLRs can be more than a stated report. Rather, they can help bring city departments together, uncover new synergies, and identify funding mechanisms for sustainable development breakthroughs. I'd also like to applaud the cities on today's panel for taking a leadership role in the region, developing VLRs and integrated best practices that foreground sustainable governance matters. At CityNet, we champion the role of cities in driving innovative approaches to local governance, and we actively support the adaptation and replication of these approaches across the region. And I encourage all participants to reach out to the panelists as mentors if there is interest in learning from or replicating their experiences. Today's event is brief, but let's treat it as an appetizer for more substantial programs on urban governance now in development, including the future-ready urban governance training later this year, and major regional milestones next year, such as the 10th CityNet Congress in Seoul and APUF-9 in Yokohama. We stand ready to help connect the dots and connect actors to transform cities across our region into mothers of sustainable urban governance for the coming era. Thank you.
Thank you so much. All right, and before we kick off the next segment, I want to acknowledge for everybody in the room that we have around 100 joining us in this event. And now we're gonna hear city insights from Japan, Thailand, Philippines, and Bangladesh. So I will call on now, well, she's here with me, Sudha Guti, Regional Advisor, Gender Equality for UNDP Bangkok Regional Hub.
Thank you, Kate, and good morning, colleagues in the room, as well as those of you joining online. It's really very heartening to see the passion on this topic, even at the end of the APFSD week on Friday morning, and I think that really reiterates for us the importance of future-ready governance. And as we heard from all our three speakers from UNDP, IGES, and CityNet, I think it's looking at more than just administrative reforms when we look at urban governance. As Deanna, my colleague, mentioned from UNDP, of course, it's adaptive, agile, and anticipatory, but also we're looking at how partnerships and coordination across the board, inclusive and participation, intergenerational youth, women, gender responsiveness of our cities going forward play an important role. And I think here is where also the VLRs come in. And when voluntary local reviews are well designed, what we're hearing and seeing more and more is that they really create structured opportunities to align city priorities with sustainable development goals. So today, with our very insightful panel from three cities, Yokohama, Baguio, and Dhaka, we will be exploring how really we are embedding SDG priorities into medium plans and budgets while dealing also with existing political risks and realities. We're also looking at how we connect climate action, circular economy, inclusion and participation to service delivery. And we'll also be looking at how we link local action with voluntary national reviews. The session, therefore, goes a little beyond showing good practices alone. For us, it is also about understanding further, based on the good practices that we're seeing and witnessing, sharpening our understanding of the governance mechanisms and enabling conditions that make the implementation possible and at scale. So with that, let me invite our first representative from Yokohama, Mr. Noriaki Yokuchi, who's the Director of Development Cooperation from Global Networks Department, International Affairs Bureau, City of Yokohama, to really share your experience from Yokohama in this urban governance approach. Over to you, Mr. Yokuchi.
Yeah, thank you for introducing me. Good morning, everyone, distinguished guests and participants and organizer. Thank you very much for giving us this opportunity today. I'm Noriaki Yokouchi, Director for Development Corporation of the City of Yokohama. I'd like to contribute to this session by sharing Yokohama's experience with the VLR and highlighting our key initiatives. Yeah, next slide, please. Yeah, this is the outline of Yokohama City. Yokohama is the second largest city with a population of nearly 4 million. It is ranked first in the city ranking by a private company. It is ranked first in the in that ranking for 7 consecutive years. And next slide, please. I'm gonna skip this slide. So next slide, please. Yes, thank you very much. In Yokohama, our VR reports are deeply interconnected with our midterm 4-year plan and the SDG's Future City Plan. Our midterm plan includes a progress management mechanism through annual reviews. based on the reviews, we revise the plan every 4 years. By synchronizing the midterm plan with the SDG's Future City Plan, we visualize our contributions to the SDGs. In essence, this entire cycle of implementation, review, and upgrading constitutes Yokohama's VLR process itself. Our VLR reports, particularly the upcoming VLR 2026, are more than just a list of local indicators. They demonstrate how we embed the review process, how we incorporate stakeholders' feedback into new strategies, and showcase our various unique initiatives. Through these efforts, we aim to make this report a valuable resource for overseas cities and partner organizations. Next slide, please. Now, I would like to introduce a key initiative of Yokohama. One of our most important strategies is the realization of a green society. We have committed to achieving net zero CO2 emissions by 2050, and in recent years, we have been focusing particularly on the transition to a circular economy as a key initiative to reach this goal. Next slide, please. Yes. This butterfly diagram illustrates the circular flow of production and consumption, showing how we integrate regeneration, reuse, and recycling. It maps Yokohama's diverse efforts, such as production of sustainable aviation fuel, local type vending machines to reduce food waste, bike sharing, and upcycling of construction waste, and so on. The city government, citizens, and local businesses are working together to promote this circular transition. Next slide, please. We are committed to exchanging knowledge and technologies for green society with global partners and speeding up the shift to circular cities. At the Asia Smart City Conference held in Yokohama last November, ICRE Japan announced the launch of an Asian version of the Circular City Declaration in response to requests from Asian cities. Next slide, please. In 2027, Yokohama will host APUF-9, co-organized with the SCAP. APUF is widely recognized as the premier platform in the Asia-Pacific region dedicated to sustainable urban development. We believe that APUF-9 in Yokohama will be a transformative opportunity for the ACCD, Agile Circular City Declaration, to evolve as a platform where cities can mutually enhance their policies toward becoming circular cities. Next slide, please. Finally, let me share another significant highlight for 2027. Alongside APUF-9, Yokohama will host Green Expo, an international horticultural exposition where over 10 million visitors can experience diverse green innovations and nature-based solutions. We believe that the Expo will make APUF-9 an even more exceptional opportunity. Next slide, please. That concludes my presentation of Yokohama's efforts to strengthen global partnerships with a true VLR and transition toward a circular city. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Sorry. Thank you very much, Mr. Yokochi. I think what stands out really is how Yokohama has been using the VLR as a city management process and embedding into medium terms plans as well as annual reviews. Also, how this has resulted in very concrete resourcing decisions, including increasing your climate budget from 2024 to 2025, I think was very impressive. Also, I think what stood out was your circular economy initiatives that further demonstrate also how partnerships across citizens, businesses, and government have really led to system level change. And finally, I think your leadership beyond the city, including the launch of the Asian Cities Circular Cities Declaration and hosting of major milestones in 2027, such as the APUF and GREEN EXPO, also shows how you're positioning cities and Yokohama as regional conveners. So thank you very much. And I think, like I did, all of our participants also took away a lot of impressive elements from there. With that, I now would like to invite our next panelist, Ms. Michaela Rimando, economist, City Planning, Development and Sustainability Office from Baguio City in the Philippines, who's joining us virtually to share experiences using SDG localization and local monitoring to strengthen urban governance from the Philippines. Ms. Rimando, over to you.
Hello, good morning to everyone. I am Mika from the Baguio City Planning, Development and Sustainability Office from the Philippines. Today, I want to share our data-driven journey and how the global goals become local reality. So not just with data, but with dialogue, not just with reports, but with real transformation. So should I share my screen or thank you. So next slide, please. So our VLR rests on four foundations. The 2024 Voluntary Local Review developed with UNDP, covering 9 priority SDGs across 128 villages of the city. And then we have the Livability Index, measuring the quality of life across 10 dimensions for our 370,000 residents, and the social innovation platform approach, where we did systems mapping, co-creation, deep listening with our communities, and of course, global recognition. Baguio is the first Philippine city to upload a VLR to the UN SDG website, and it was featured in the Philippines Voluntary National Review, and also contributing to UN Habitat's Global Quality of Life Index. So next slide, please. So what made this possible? The most important step was our SDG Council. It is a formal governance structure with a mandate, a budget, and a reporting responsibility to the city mayor. So we also formed an SDG core group. This is a group of champions from city departments, offices, the academe, the civil society, and it also integrated our VLR into our planning cycle. And 4 factors enabled this. Of course, the political will from the city mayor, the technical partnership with UNDP, also building with the available data while we also document the gaps, and innovation through using the social innovation approach. Next slide, please. So Baguio is and will be deploying 5 mechanisms, which are also the commitment of the city for this year. First, we have an SDG financing framework linking every budget line to a specific SDG through outcome-based budgeting. Second, we're working on a real-time dashboard, making SDG indicators transparent to planners and also the citizens. Third, the VLR as a planning tool. This is now the evidence base for our comprehensive development plan. Fourth, a multi-sector co-creation with CSOs, the academe, and the youth as co-producers of data. And for the phase 2 of the VLR, we are expanding to SDGs 1, 5, and 12, and 16 with deeper village level disaggregation. and deep listening. So before writing a single line of analysis, we sat with women, indigenous peoples, persons with disabilities, and health workers. So let me show what governance structure actually produced, and this is our data. Next slide, please. Right. So, okay, aligned with our city vision, Baguio 2043, a livable, inclusive, and creative city, we defined 9 priorities, priority SDGs. So here is our scorecard. As you can see, child stunting is 2.67% against the national target of 15%, though there is a slight rise from 1.57% in 2023. Our K-12 enrollment is 100%. Unemployment is 4.6% below the 5% national target. And there are also 1.5 million tourists who visited in 2024. There are 99% of households who have sanitary toilet access. And on climate action, we now have 25 policies in place. This is up from 15 in 2015. Our greatest challenge is SDG 3, which is on health. As you can see, we have rising HIV cases, dengue cases, and a maternal mortality rate of 92.89 per 100,000 live births. So this is where innovation becomes critical. Next slide, please. The VLR only delivers outcomes when it becomes a governance tool, and this is used by different actors. For the city government, it identifies regressing indicators and focusing the following year's budget and work plans. For our stakeholders, it is an accountability instrument. We had our public pledge ceremony during our inception stage, and that created a social contract. For our citizens, it functions as a mirror of shared realities with the livability index of Baguio, giving each village a picture of its own quality of life. So the most important mechanism is relational. When people create the data, they trust it. And when they trust it, they use it. And when they use it, their behavior changes and some outcomes improve. Next slide, please. So we have 5 recommendations for any city who would want to explore in crafting their VLR. So first, start with your people, what they are experiencing, not the global frameworks. Second, pair quantitative data with deep listening. So statistics and stories are partners. And bring CSOs, businesses, and the youth as co-producers from day one. Weave the VLR into budget cycles and work plans, and secure the executive order, the budget line, the planning cycle integration before you begin. And with that, let me leave you with one final thought. Next slide, please. So how do global goals become reality? So it is not by strength of any institution or any data set, but by the willingness of a city to come together, listen honestly, and commit to act. So we collaborate, we institutionalize, and we innovate. So for those who want to read the full 2024 Baguio City Voluntary Local Review, you can access it at go.qndp.org/UWB. And we're also happy to connect for deeper exchanges on our process, our tools, and our data. So once again, I'm Mika Rimando from the Baguio City Planning, Development, and Sustainability Office of the City Government of Baguio. Thank you.
Ms. Rimando, thank you so much. Really, I think going into Baguio, we see a very complementary model here that's data-driven, but also grounded deeply in local context and lived realities. What you've shared with us in the context of the 2043 vision, supported by really a locally developed livability index across 9 prioritized SDGs, really shows us that the VLR becomes both a diagnostic and a planning tool and beyond. And we've seen how it becomes meaningful when it really reflects lived experience. Also very interesting how the social innovation platform validation workshops demonstrated that participation strengthens both data and ownership. Really, very much appreciated your point about when data is trusted, it's owned, and it really reflects change. Thank you very much for that very insightful presentation. And with that, I'd like to now invite our third city and invite Mr. Mohammad Ashraful Islam, Chief Town Planner Rajuk, joining us from Bangladesh to share perspectives on SDG localization and future-ready governance in Dhaka's very high-risk climate context. Over to you, Mr. Islam.
Thank you. Thank you for giving me the opportunity. This is Ashraful Islam. I'm working as a Chief Town Planner as the Capital Development Authority of Bangladesh. And thank you for the organizer and all the participants. Next slide, please. Okay. I like to focus on this is Dhaka is one of the biggest mega city. So we have many challenges. We have some initiatives. So I like to focus on the challenge and our activities and how the digital transform the lesson and path forward. Next slide, please. Why the Dhaka is one of the is fastest growing city, as you know. It's like as the jurisdiction is a big one. At the same time, this is one of the second most populous cities in the world. At the same time, the country's GDP, one-third GDP is generated from the Dhaka. So urban governance is important as a national issue in Dhaka. Next slide, please. What we have faces challenges like as the rapid urbanization, one of the main challenge. At the same time, the high population density, but there is a land scarcity is there, and some kind of affordable housing is there is a scarcity is affordable housing, and there's a common issue is the traffic congestion and the low mobility. At the same time, due to the rapid urbanization, we are losing the wetlands and green spaces, and now we are facing the climate and disaster vulnerabilities. At the same time, there is too many organizations involved in Dhaka, like as a some countries has a like as a metropolitan government system, but Dhaka is like as a we are capital development authority. We are formulating the planning principle and other guidelines. Some countries are implementing, but the city corporation has another reality. At the same time, as a master plan, we are as a apex planning authority, we are responsible for the master plan. So DEP is a detailed plan as a government tool. This is not just a map, because in the DEP we are transforming the many goals and activities. We are coordinating all the other agencies, and all planning principle comes together in a single map, and then we distribute it to all the other department. They are implementing these guidelines and principle and all kind of infrastructure according to our master plan. Next slide, please. What we are focusing on this guideline, like as we are guided the mixed use development, we are promoting the transitory development and density zoning, water based development, and we are focusing on the disaster aspect. And at the same time, we are giving the incentive for the block based development, and now we are promoting at the same time the urban lifeline, and our main policy is towards the shift of the concentrated growth to the polycentric growth. Next slide, please. And what aligned with the SDG is our depth is like as what we are focusing in our master plan. What the affordable and adequate housing, we are giving the incentive. At the same time, we are providing the sustainable and accessible transport and participatory urbanization process, and how we can reduce the environmental impact, and universal access to the green spaces and disaster risk reduction and climate resilience. All are focusing on our detailed area plan. Thank you. Next slide, please. And in the DEP, we are identified 58 locations in Dhaka metropolitan region. Our targeting the 1 lakh apartment unit will be built on the 58 location for the affordable. Now Rajuk is implementing 3 projects regarding the affordable housing project. Hopefully the project will be implemented within the next 5 years. Next slide, please. This are what we are giving we are not implementing such kind of initiative by the government itself. We are also giving the incentivize to the private developers. Like as the only private developers wanted to build the affordable housing, we are giving them the 0.75 FAR, floor area ratio incentive to them, outright incentive. So now the private developers is interested to build the affordable housing for the common people. Next slide, please. This is the size of the apartment size, like the 400 square feet to 600 square feet, the type 1 and type 2. There's the apartment unit, and other one is the what we are providing the like is the residential development project. We are providing for the low and middle income group in Karaniganj area. At the same time, we are providing the more than 6,000 apartment unit for the lower and middle income group. Already it has built, and people are residing on the apartment side. Next slide, please. And other one is we are focusing the NMT, non-motorized vehicle. At the same time, we are coordinating with the other mode of transport like as the bus, MRT, and the waterway system. The more and some kind of we are formulating the transit-oriented guidelines along the MRT line corridors. Next slide, please. This is the transit-oriented development. Already we are targeting the implementation of the two TUD development in along the MRT line corridor. One is Uttara, another is Gaptuli multimodal hub. Next slide, please. And the waterway, we are giving because Dhaka is surrounded by the 4 rivers, so we are focusing on the waterway and 574 kilometer waterway system at the priority basis we are identified. So this waterway system will be developed gradually by the 2035. And there's an urban lifeline like as in the waterway system and the roadway system. We are now giving the widened footpath and providing the plant and other trees and all the utility lines which should be done under that common ducting system. This is our policy, but yet not implemented yet because there is a lot of financing issues is required on the other thing. There is the NMT network which we are identified in Dhaka metropolitan region. Next slide, please. And otherwise, some of the bridge and other infrastructure we are providing to support the SDG development goals is like some of the infrastructure. Another one is the GIS and remote sensing lab. It's a planning tool. We are incorporating all kind of land related data like as a land use, their height zoning, and other like as it is adjacent to the historical sites or other density zoning. All kind of information is provided in a single database. It is open for all, so people can access this kind of data anywhere from the world. So now this is one of the popular item in Dhaka. Rajuk has developed this kind of initiative. Now people can see their building heights, road network, and their land use pattern and the ownership. Is it a private or government land? All can get in a single information from the single information. Other one is as a public service providing. We are planning to develop some of the water-based network or water-based township project and the improvement of the existing canals, khals, and we are at the same time we are wanted to provide the 55 ponds within the Dhaka metropolitan region to support the underground water recharge at the same time for any kind of disaster. So it can be used as a water hydrant for any fire disaster. Next slide, please. And how we can protect the
apologies to interrupt, Mr. Islam, but given the time constraints,
yes, there's only 2 slides. Next slide, please.
Thank you.
This is open space, however, 55 and next slide, please. And next, please. So there is a disaster aspect. We have also there at the same time how we can revitalize the urban regeneration process. We are introducing this kind of next slide, please. This is how we can preserve the heritage site also. Next, please. And there is we are preparing the planning through the participatory process. During the DEP preparation process, we have conducted the 260 participatory rapid appraisal session with the different stakeholders and community civil society members and other technical professionals. Next slide, please. This is the GIS lab is opening for all, and we are providing the online basic service to the construction permit, land use permit, and other planning permit. We are giving on the online basis. Next slide, please. So we are taking the DAP is not as a planning tools. It is also the local voluntary local reviews. We are involving the all kind of citizens in this process. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. What? Okay, lesson. We can say the planning is a governance tools. SDG localization must be spatial, still long-term frameworks are essential, and VLRs can inform the policy reform. This is the lesson from our perspective. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Islam, and really apologies for cutting short the presentation.
No,
We
no,
will be
thank you. Thank you.
happy to also share it because I think there's a lot of interesting information there, especially on your long-term vision using the detailed area plan till 2035. I think is an important one when we are looking at urban governance and future-ready cities. So thank you again. With the interesting insights we've got from all the three cities, I'd like to now invite two colleagues here. Mr. Alexander Nash, Senior Urban Development Specialist at ADB, and then Mr. Ricardo Messiano, Deputy Head and Senior Economic Affairs Officer from SCAP, to reflect on what we've heard, but also to really tell us from your perspective how we can improve urban infrastructure and services from ADB's perspective as well as from SCAP's perspective. So over to you, Mr. Nash, first.
Thanks. Okay, yeah, thank you. And make sure, I think I have a few minutes to talk, but cut me off if I'm going over time, because there's a lot to talk about. So I'll reflect, I mean, these are really interesting presentations and quite impressive. I was thinking before the session, and actually as people were talking, I had been asked to answer a question sort of on institutions, institution leadership, governance, capabilities which cities need to become. And the reflection I had is all of those things are quite different, and they're different in different contexts, but they all boil down to, they all have one thing in common. And the thing they have in common, and I was glad it was mentioned a couple of times, is the word accountability. Institutions, leadership, governance, all of that boils down to one thing, which is accountability. Do cities or governments largely deliver for their citizens, and what are the ways they can do that? So all governments, even the worst and least accountable governments, need some way of taking the temperature on their performance as a basic survival mechanism. It's like pain. Pain is the accountability mechanism of our bodies that we evolved. And if you don't feel pain, you won't live very long. So even though we often think, the accountability mechanisms here are weak, they do exist. And as sort of development workers, all of us generally, I think we have our own cultural baggage on what we think an accountability mechanism should look like. Particularly if you're Western Australian like me, it has one format, which is open elections, independent judiciary, all this sort of stuff. But as I've worked around the world in a lot of countries and contexts, and even within single countries, it quickly becomes obvious that there is a whole sort of ecosystem of accountability mechanisms, and they take very different forms. All the examples we've seen today, I thought it was interesting, come from sort of countries with open elections, multi-party competed elections. But countries which I've been working don't function that way. They don't necessarily have multi-party systems, but it doesn't mean they don't have accountability mechanisms. And so one of the things I think as I come to work in the city, or as we come to work in the city, what we should be thinking about is not bringing a particular accountability approach. And I know the VLR is one of those service offerings, but we should come in and think, well, what are the accountability mechanisms which are here? How do they exist? Find them, look for them. If you may think there are none, but I guarantee there will be. Find them and find out how they work. The multilateral development banks, another general comment, ADB included, we do have a view, I suppose, on accountability mechanisms. There can be all sorts of them, but as you would know, through ADB and the World Bank safeguards mechanism, our view is that they should be broad and inclusive. accountability mechanisms can be, exclude people, that they can be fairly narrow and only push various interests. We clearly have a view, which is that the broader they are and the more inclusive they are, the better they are. And I think the examples we saw, people, VLRs are certainly an example which seeks to broaden accountability mechanisms and include as many people as possible. In our projects, I'd say there's two phases where you sort of need to think about how we bring accountability into it. And one is as through the design of the project and then through the implementation. Design, through master planning and supporting, we do attempt to make sure that governments have consulted broadly, and certainly as part of our due diligence process we do consult. But then for implementation it's more interesting because we know, and our clients also know, that if we finance assets and there is no accountability mechanism to deliver the services, they won't be delivered. We'll just sort of have these, pipes which don't work or roads which are abandoned. And so, as we finance infrastructure, we are always working with government. I think this would be true for the World Bank too, to work out, okay, well, how is it going to work, and why is it going to work, and who's going to operate it? Some examples, I thought that Yokohama's circular economy stuff was very interesting because we've been working in that space. In Cambodia, I have a good example where digital technology can be leveraged to make available the information to hold the service providers to account, GIS. And so digital does open up a bunch of options for cities who want to use technology. Comment quickly on the Baguio's presentation. I thought it was really interesting that political will was mentioned up front, and also that budget cycles were included fairly early into the VLR process. That's important if you want to get people to participate in this, which you do. I think people need to be convinced that their participation isn't a waste of their time, and that genuinely they will have some influence on it. Where cities don't have control over their own budgets or have their own resources, it's difficult to hold the city to account for outcomes. And so local taxation revenues and getting people involved in how that's spent will create this virtuous circle of people understand their participation matters, and so they want to participate. People will not participate once they understand that it's a waste of time. Dhaka was very inspiring and impressive presentation, of course. Affordable housing is a great initiative, and actually ADB, we've recently opened up a new area of lending which is into social housing because we want to support this sort of stuff, and it's clearly a way to lift people out of poverty. But what I was most impressed with was online access to GIS data and planning data. That is really great. We are often asked to support master planning, and we do support master planning in our cities. And I'm a skeptic of it, actually. People say, oh, we just need a plan. And I'm a skeptic because I don't know how many city plans I've seen that have been completely ignored. And so my view is always, I'm not going to develop a master plan unless I know that will be enforced. And there is a mechanism to hold people to account for that plan. And so the online dissemination of planning regulations is a fantastic way of doing that and holding government to account. I'll stop there because I can sense that I'm out of time, but I wanted to just finish on one note, which is, while we're all talking here about how we can do better and stuff we're doing wrong and new mechanisms, remember that we're doing well. Actually, Asia's development and the rate at which Asia has lifted people out of poverty is historically unprecedented. It's far faster than Europe did during the Industrial Revolution. Far more people, far faster, urbanized and lifted out of poverty. So we'll always focus on the problems, but broadly, as we can see from these examples, cities are getting it right. We are lifting people out of poverty. We are bringing them into more productive jobs, better lives, longer life expectancy, higher education, better healthcare. So, we can do better, but broadly, we should also reflect on the fact that some of the problems we're facing, traffic and pollution, heat, are problems created by our success. People are moving to cities, they're buying cars, the traffic's terrible. Why is it terrible? Because people have enough money to buy cars. And so keep that in mind. It's not all bad. We're getting ahead and we're getting there. But of course, we can always do better. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Nash. And I think it's really important to be clear-eyed and celebrate what we already have achieved, but at the same time have a vision of where we need to get to. Your points on accountability and different models of accountability that are there and should be there, I think is very interesting as well. Last but not the least, Mr. Messiano, please do come in on your brief reflections on the city insights, but also as SCAP, how are you creating regional platforms to really take this agenda forward? Over to you.
Thank you, Sudha. I'll be really brief, I promise, also because I'd like to hear a little bit more from the audience. Impressive presentation from our cities. I think a leitmotif is sustainability, which is extremely important for us. And I really appreciated the presentation from Yokohama, circularity, and this push, this quest to get cities, and in particular Yokohama, greener and low carbon is also a pledge. And as we were just hinting to ASCAP and my office, which is the sub-regional office for East and Northeast Asia, which covers that part of the world, is really active on low carbon cities. We do have a platform, which is the low carbon city platform, and we organize a forum every year, which really tries to bring cities together and other partners to discuss on how we can make our cities more resilient, greener, and in particular low carbon. So I see lots of similarities to also your idea of Asia Smart Cities conference and activities. And I think that if we really want that cities in our sub-region, in our region, get to this kind of pledge, we need to connect. And I'm always very impressed when I see that there are initiatives that are similar to our low carbon cities platform, which goes back 10 years. And what I'm trying to do is to really trying on behalf of ESCAP to connect these dots. And again, so for Yokohama, thank you so much for the initiative, and we would like to be part of that. And if possible, try to connect as much as possible. Really, also kudos to Baguio for the VLR. I mean, when we started with ESCAP with this concept of VNR and VLR with our sustainable urbanization section, we maybe didn't expect so much to happen in a few years, and this means that it's a good concept, and the VLRs in this idea of really assessing how cities can organize the sustainability from all different perspectives, including the SDGs, is commendable. So thank you so much for doing that, and also for Dhaka. I know I've been there. I know the efforts that have been done, and in this reduction of the environmental impact, there is lots of effort happening, and this is why I think, and conclude, what is important is that all these initiatives, all these ideas, all these experience are shared, and so this is how peer learning happens. This is why ASCAP as a platform, not only through the APFSD, but through our sub-regional forums, and again through this low carbon city platform that we established, where all of you are invited. I know many of you from CityNet, from Yokohama, UNDP, Habitat, they're all part of that. But this is an open community, it's an open platform, and the success will only be maximized if more partners. So thank you so much for giving me the opportunity, and looking forward to hear more.
Thank you very much, Mr. Messiano, and also for telling us more about the Northeast Asia Low Carbon City Platform and emphasizing how important it is to also share the experiences that we have. Thank you for that. Before we wrap up, we definitely want to hear from a few participants at least, and maybe we can extend by 10 minutes. I'm looking at colleagues in the organizing team and in the room, if that's okay. No objections means yes, I suppose. So, Kate, please.
Yeah, we have an online one. Vikar Ahmed, I will try to allow you to share if you want to speak, but if not, I can also read your question. Over to you.
Hello, Assalamu alaikum.
Hello, we can hear you.
Yeah, hi, Assalamu alaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good morning from Malaysia. My name is Vikar. I have posted three question over there on the chat box. I would like to request anyone who can able to answer from the UNDP or any of from the speaker guest list on this. Basically, this question we relate to the regarding about the if the vulnerability local review are not binding, what the mechanisms ensure the go beyond the symbolic reporting and become instrument for the structural transformation rather than a political branding. And the second question was, how can city maintain SDG continuity in governance when political leadership change and electoral cycles? The last question, what safeguard to prevent the voluntary local review becoming elite-driven document disconnect from the grassroots reality, especially marginalized community? Thank you.
Thank you. And also thank you for raising very important questions. Maybe in the interest of time, I can invite one of the cities, maybe Baguio, to respond briefly. And we'll also try to attempt written responses to the questions following the meeting. Thank you. Ms. Remando, are you there?
Yes, hello. Yeah, for the first question, the city of Baguio is actually created the SDG Council, and we have that executive order wherein we would be able to secure a budget for us to continue monitoring our SDGs. We also created that SDG core group from the different departments, and also this is actually an international and national mandate for the cities to do their own voluntary local review. So I believe it's not, politically binding. So in case we will have a different mayor, it will still continue because, like I said earlier, we already integrated the VLR process into our planning cycle. And coming from the planning department, we already started tagging our projects, programs, and initiatives, and I believe it will continue yearly. So for your second question, yeah, that will also answer your second question. And so for the safeguards, prevent VLRs, well, um, to not really to become elite driven documents and getting that disconnection. That's why we have this social innovation approach that we use where we really listen. There's deep listening where we invited our communities from the grassroots level. We documented what they have to share, their insights as well about the SDGs. And like I said earlier, statistics plus their stories really comes together. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you so much. If
Yeah.
there are no further questions.
Thank you so much, Sudha. And I encourage everybody in this room to discuss further. Let's have a networking right after this. There's so many questions. We have 30 here in person and then online. We'll answer your questions through the Q&A. But before that, our future is our young people, and we have young people here from MGCY to reflect on what we've discussed. So over to you.
Thank you, Madam Moderator, and thank you to all the speakers for their wonderful insights. Just as a representative of the major group for children and youth, just a little quick question. How can voluntary local reviews move beyond reporting and become governance tools so that they promote inclusion, especially of the underrepresented communities, which will help in long-term urban planning as well as financing? It's open to any of the panelists. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Dave. I think that's really an important question, and I think all of the three presentations have really highlighted how the VLRs are not just reporting tools, are not just planning tools, but they're really embedding larger governance systems, which are helping take these SDGs into action, which are helping us to really put financing frameworks into action. In the interest of time, maybe we can, after the meeting, we can have a follow-up discussion with some of the panelists here. So please allow me to wrap up here and hand it over to our colleague. Really, I think it's impossible to summarize, so I will not attempt to. But three clear points are emerging, I think, from our discussion and not limited to them. One is, I think what we're seeing is cities are really strongly building what we call delivery architecture. So they're really looking at governance systems that are turning SDG commitments into implementation. And we're also seeing from Yokohama, from Baguio, from Dhaka, various examples around whether it's livability index from Baguio or from how VLRs are embedded into medium and long-term planning in Yokohama, or the long-term financing frameworks like the detailed area plan that Dhaka presented, in addition to everything else. So I think it's really telling us that it's going beyond a single initiative. Second, I think is it came out very importantly, and also with our representation of youth colleagues across the board, that future-ready governance it not only has to be efficient and climate resilient, but also equitable and really responsive to those who are left behind historically, whether they're youth, women, girls, elderly, and I think that's a very important consideration. And third, just to really acknowledge how VLRs have proven to be a very effective tool in taking this forward, but also as our colleagues from ADB and SCAP have noted, they're not the only tools out there, and there's much more to build on while we take this forward, and which is why regional sharing is so critical as we go forward. So with that, let me hand it over to my dear colleague Diana to really conclude today's panel.
Yeah, thank you so much, Sudha. Let's give a round of applause, please, to our speakers. I got the sense that we have to leave the room immediately, so I'll be very short. So thank you for joining us in person and online. For the participants, we knew that it would be just an appetizer for the conversation. The conversation should continue, so please, let's follow up on the corridors or reach out to us. There is a copy of our report that we share here if you want to take one. Thank you so much to the organizers, IGES, Yokohama City, as well as CityNet, and to the cities, especially for sharing the innovations and how you are taking this concept of future-ready governance and moving forward with the SDG localization. So thank you to the representative from Baguio City, Dhaka, Development Authority, as well as Yokohama City again. Thank you so much.